Right, guys. So I'm going to talk to you about why I think that we're actually in a 5 year cycle and why I think there's more time in this bull market than everyone thinks, and that it's not, you know, time to crash yet. We've probably got, another year of this bull market before, um, we see the next bear market. So if we look at, well, first of all, I want to say about 4 year cycles. Okay, so a 4 year cycle, it used to be 4 year cycle, so you had like your debt had to be resolved in 4 years, blah blah blah. But the interest rates all got cut to zero when we had the 2008, 2011 crashes, etc. So effectively, what they did, they gave us more time to refinance the debt, get that all settled, etc. But what that did is it increased from a 4 year cycle to a 5 year cycle, because obviously the debt restructuring. So you should be, and people get confused because they think, oh yeah, well Bitcoin, the halving, etc., has something to do with the 4 year cycles, blah blah blah, right? But it's never exact, it's never accurate. I've seen loads of people try and do it, and it's not exactly 4 years. So how can it be? But little theory here is that if you take the top of the November 2013, and you actually take it to the bottom, which is the retest in 2018, you get 1,856 days, which is approximately 5 years, 5.1 years. So, pretty accurate for 5 years. Now, if you do the same from this top here to this bottom here, you get 1,796 days, which if you divide that by 365, it's 4.92. Okay. Now, why would you say, well, you're taking that top to that bottom, and that top to that bottom? Well, because that is the retest of the previous high. Okay, so you have your peak here, you sit through here, all of the bear market there, then you go to your new top and then you retest it as support, right? Well, in trading, what you want to see is that you make a breakout and you retest it as support before you then make the new move, right? So if I was to say that I want to go, let's say that's your breakout, your breakdown. Sorry. What you want to do is if that was your resistance zone, we'll do that in black. If that was your resistance zone, you'd come up. You'd want to retest it as support, which then changes the structure. Okay, so all of a sudden you've gone from bearish to bullish, and you've confirmed it as support, right? So it's now not resistance, it's support, right? So surely that makes the cycle complete when you've retested it as support, right? So what we shouldn't be doing is that if we were to measure from this point to this point, does that mean cycle complete? I'm not so sure. Anyway, so based on the theory of actual trading, where you break out, retest as support, that should then be the end of the cycle. That should be, right, we've broken out, we've completed the retest. That means that, we're well above, we're never going to go down here again, cycle complete, right? So we tick that, right? We'll put that in with green. We can then start a new cycle, okay? So this green zone here then becomes the start of your new cycle. So going up and up and up and up, we reach our peak, we come down, we retest this as support, which was previously resistance, we get another tick, right? So we can circle that off. All of a sudden now we've got 5 year cycles, right? Just simply by retesting previous resistance into support, right? We just get a confirmation tick. So what does that mean? Well, if we are in a 5 year cycle, then we've either got this amount of time from the previous high, which is where we're measuring it at. Actually, it's actually there. Or we've got this amount of time from the previous high. Okay, now this is going to become important in a second. Now you have to sort of like give me a chance to sort of explain it a little bit more. But look, we've either got that amount of time or that amount of time. I'll just highlight that in one color. Oh, it's not, doesn't want to do it. Don't know why. Come on. What's going on? There we go. Anyway, why do I also think that we're not actually going to drop? Well, what happened when we came and retested this zone? Well, we retested it as support, right? With the black lines. But here, we didn't come all the way down here. Here we did, right? So does that mean that this could actually be as far down as we're going to go, and that we don't need to come down and retest this level? Potentially. Okay, because there's the massive gap there. What the recent price action's done is it came down like that. This hasn't. Anyway, so what could potentially happen with price? So if we've got this amount of time to play with, we've got until December 26. So December this year, to figure out where price is going to go. Now, does this look like, if we put it onto the weekly now, does this actually look that bearish? Because I don't think it does. Okay. If we zoom in, to me, I think it looks more like that. I think it looks more bullish than it does bearish. I mean, there's a lot of people saying, oh yeah, head and shoulders, etc. But this shoulder doesn't look right, because the right shoulder would be higher than the left shoulder. So you would have, it'd be like that, just higher than the left shoulder, and it'd look like that. So it's a bit weird how this looks droppy like that. It doesn't sort of sit right with me. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't think the bottom's in. I think that this is a scary dip before really Bitcoin's going to start ripping. And if you look on the higher time frame, you can actually change this. You can do like a running wedge. Now, that looks scary because of the breakout, right? It looks like it's breaking out. But what these wedges tend to do is they kind of like fake out. Now you can look at that in smaller time frames as well. They kind of like, they look like they're going to break out, and then they sort of go like that, one more sweep, and then it's just straight through. You can also have a look at these types of setups on the smaller time frames, like down here. So this is like the biggest one I've seen on the higher time frame, but there are smaller versions of it. So you can, if you go down to like the daily, you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see what I mean. So this is the breakout from 10K. Where is it? Oh yeah, it's there. So everyone's sort of screaming at this point. I was there, like, you know, it's falling wedge. Sorry, rising wedge. Can you see how it like it dips before it rips? This is a really aggressive looking rising wedge. But can you see this? It's right there, look. Now, call me a conspiracist or whatever, but this looks very similar to what we are looking at right now. And if I take the bars pattern, so everything I do on here is freestyle. I haven't like rehearsed anything or what. I just freestyle it. I don't proclaim to be a professional YouTuber or anything. I just show what I think. So if you're prepared to bear with me a little bit, I can show you what my thoughts are. But look at that. It's the same, pretty much. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but it's not far off. I mean, you can do this on your own computer, but this looks pretty similar. I mean, you can probably get it in there. Look. If we flipped over to the weekly, it might be able to be seen better. But yeah, I mean, we're not far off there. This is what happens before it rips. So, in my opinion, based on that, and based on seeing it happen, with smaller, in smaller versions of this in the past, I think that this is a fake breakout of a massive rising wedge before ultimately we go like that. And I've shown you how I think that we've got the time within the chart to be able to do that. So, look, I know this has been a bit of a long video, but do watch it, a couple of times. Have a look on your chart. You'll see exactly what I mean. This is just one of those times where you need to long Bitcoin with your full net worth. Cheers, guys.